Good afternoon and welcome to Don Conroy's live stream. So, have you got paper and paper ready? Like here's some, you need a pencil, you need some paper, and by the way, the reason why I'm here today is that I've joined forces with those lovely people from Unpust and Children's Books Ireland. They want everybody to be creative, just like myself. And the way they've done it is the weekend. Oh, we're right back. Hold on one second. This is all new to me and some gremlins in the works here. So here we go again, head first. Don Conroy here. You're very welcome to a live draw with Don. Those nice people from Unpust and Children's Books Ireland decided that they'd like me to do a draw with Don. So here I am. Now the weekend, as you know, was Easter weekend, and I hope you had a great time and that the Easter Bunny came. But I also hope that this lovely book went winging its way to your home. So this should have gone to every household in the country. This is called Imagination. So imagination is what you do. It means to image in. So imagine nation. That's going to be Ireland. We're all going to be creative. And there's so many ways to be creative. But today, I'm going to do some drawing and I hope you'll enjoy it. Now, if by some chance you didn't get this nice book, you can actually go to Unpust's website and download it. Mine came a little bit late. I think it may have been delivered by an owl. So in this wonderful book, there's a lot of great talent from all over Ireland have been involved. Great young children's writers, poets, illustrators, and special friends like Sarah Webb and Niamh Sharkey and myself. I'm in there. So do pick up a copy of it, and as I say, hopefully you will have it at home, and you might even let some of the adults flick through it. Okay, because let's face it, being creative can be a lovely family affair. Don't worry about making mistakes. We all make mistakes. And you learn from each mistake. So here, I've done a drawing of the owl, and he's just delivered some nice mail, hence we know what's inside. So forgive me if it's breaking up a little bit. This is what happens with live shows. Okay, are we ready? Pencils, HB pencil, always handy. Little bit of paper, blank piece of paper. And I use a putty rubber to rub out something, but don't worry about rubbing out at the moment. We're just having fun. So I'll take this down. And we'll have a go. So this is the head, a side view of the owl. And it's quite happy. And here's the eye. And by the way, in the book I have a drawing of the long-eared owl. And the long-eared owl has little feathers that stick up like this. Don't try this if you've got a wig on you, okay? This might. They have feathers that stick up, but when they're flying, they put them flat down on their heads. So sometimes people, if they do see an owl flying, they assume that it's the barn owl because it doesn't have these sticky feathers. But no, the long-eared owl puts down its ear tufts when it's flying. So that's the side view, and you can just see a little bit of the. They have this lovely heart-shaped face. All owls have, but sometimes quite covered with feathers and that. Now the next thing we do, we have a go at drawing the wings like that. Another thing regarding drawing, just fun, just to get out a notebook, do a little bit of sketching, doodling, whatever you like to do. And I was suggesting to some people that they actually start a little art journal. So that means you get a book, you write down how you're feeling. You might be feeling a little bit anxious, you might be feeling very relaxed, you might be feeling very creative. Just write down these little things. Do your little drawings beside it. And of course this lovely book here has given us lots of information, and it might inspire a few poems and various other things. So when you're being creative, I'm back, whatever it may be. So I'm just going to draw this as well. Now that's more or less the side-on view of the owl. And did you know that owls do not catch the food with their beak, their bill? They use their feet. And then when they're coming back to where they're nesting or their roost, they transfer the food up to their beak. So this one is busy bringing those lovely presents from An Post and Children's Book Ireland, some other animals. Could be a fox, could be a badger. So, you know, animals can be very creative too. You want to see some of the nests that are built and how clever chimpanzees and all these things are. In order to get some food, they pick up a stick and do some poking. Oh, very clever. Now over here, if you got that and you're happy enough, we'll draw Harry the Hedgehog. And I'm starting with the eyes like that. And the same on the other side like that. You can draw the eyes different ways, you know. And I'm always changing eyes too, cartoon eyes that is. One of the great things about drawing is that it makes you look at the world in a very creative way. You start seeing the world with fresh eyes, and that's very important. So that's why people from An Post and Children's Book Ireland want you to use your imagination. And by doing that, can you imagine everybody in the country looking at where they live with creative eyes? How exciting is that? Suddenly, you're totally awakened. And this is not a new idea. Years ago, in some tribal cultures, they used to actually pick a child, a baby, with agreement from them. The mummy would naturally enough come and feed the baby, and the daddy would come as well and visit, and the other children used to. But then one day, when the child is quite big, maybe even 12, they're brought out. They're shown the world for the first time. They're so amazed, because they've been told about leaves and flowers and butterflies, rainbows and waterfalls. Now they're seeing them for the very first time. Oh my goodness me. They're so overcome with the beauty that's around. The tears are running down their face. Hey, what's that? That's a butterfly. Oh, what's that? That's a bird. Oh, what's that? That's a leaf. And what's that? And these people are so highly aware that they become the Shah men, Shah women of the tribes. So then, because they had such great awakening within them, they could travel to the spirit realms, bring messages back to the people. Lovely idea. Now, we don't have to be so dramatic like that. All we have to do is do a bit of drawing, a bit of doodling. Look at the lovely shapes of some houses, shape of a tree, birds, whatever. And it gets very exciting. So nobody should ever say, I'm bored. No, so much to say, so much to do. And again, one of the lovely ways is to write a little poem. Here's Harry there. You see, because I used to draw on TV, I still do occasionally, I used to literally have to draw around corners like this. So I'm getting fairly good at drawing around corners. Here's his lovely letter that he's just opening. He's so happy. And I must tell you, the very first time, I mean really first time, that I got a letter in the post, oh my goodness me. Because what happened was, my mother said to me, now your poor Aunt Elizabeth is not too well. Why don't you make her a nice card and send it to her? I was delighted to do that. I loved my Aunt Elizabeth. She lived in County Laois. And anyway, what I did was, so she's singing, the robin is singing outside a hospital window, and inside was a poor woman with a big thermometer in her mouth, not feeling too well. I'm sure a lot of people understand that today. So anyway, she was delighted with the picture, and I was delighted that she liked it. But then, about 3 weeks later, I got a big letter in the post, big brown envelope. I opened it up, but just before I opened it up, I noticed it had a stamp of the Queen of England. Now at the time I didn't know anybody in England, so I assumed the Queen sent me a present. I said to my mother, oh, I just got a present in the post, and I think the Queen sent it to me. My mother said, no, I don't think the Queen would be writing to you somehow. It probably has come from your aunt, Elizabeth. That was her name, Elizabeth, not the Queen now. Anyway, I quickly opened up the letter, the envelope, and inside was a beautiful book called The Wildlife of Britain and Ireland. And I go, this is amazing to get a book in the post. It wasn't even my birthday, so I'm very, very pleased. And guess what? It said to Don Conroy, first prize in the Shell BP art competition for the under 12s. And me getting first prize, all excited. Then I began to panic. My mother said, what's wrong with you now? Well, you see, I won this first prize, this book, not this one. But I said, I didn't enter the competition. And it turned out that my Aunt Elizabeth sent that card over to this competition in England, and she didn't tell anybody, and to my utter amazement, I got this lovely book. So it's amazing books. That book triggered off so much pleasure and joy within me, and I used to sit around drawing the animals and reading up on them and stuff like that. So you never know, when you get a nice little present of a book or a sketch pad or anything like that, you never know what it can trigger off later on. So just a little thing. And we all want to be readers as well as artists, right? Because on a white piece of paper, black words on a white piece of paper. You read it. Mm-hmm. Then you warm them up in your brain. Mm-hmm. And they become coloured pictures. Then you're taken away. You could be brought up the Carpathian Mountains where Count Dracula lives. You could be on a desert island surrounded by sharks. You could have won the football match or the hockey tournament. All these things with the writer's imagination and your imagination get together and you soar. Woo! So that's the fun of reading as well. And of course, you know, people like Niamh Sharkey, who's a wonderful illustrator, and she would be busy drawing away. So not only will people illustrate their books, even if they don't illustrate them, they're using their imagination and they're visualizing something. So when somebody says, you say something to somebody, say, I don't quite get it. And you explain a bit more, and they say, I see what you mean. And what they're actually doing, they're saying to you, I've got a mental picture. Isn't that amazing? It's like saying, I understand, I stand under. The brain is an amazing thing. People have been drawing pictures for 35,000 years, at least. I just want to put in the squirrels' eyes like that. So 35,000 years at least. And what happened was somebody decided, maybe with a spear, maybe with a stick, to make a mark in the clay or the dirt or whatever. And the other said, what's that? And they explained that it was maybe the animal they were going to hunt or something. So the minute somebody made the first graphic on the ground or on the wall or on a stone, they changed the entire world. So now you could have a visual reference of something that you wanted to tell people about. And I always thought that was amazing. And the story goes that the famous artist, his name was Pablo Picasso, and Spanish, wonderful artist. He could literally draw all kinds of things. But anyway, he was told about these lovely paintings that were in a place in France, and it was called Lascaux. And he went with his friends to see these paintings in the caves. Earlier they'd found them in Spain, in a place called Altamira, an amazing thing. But these paintings were so brilliant that the people of the 19th century, the kind of scientists and artists, and no, there's no way those monkey people could have done these pictures. But they had. Wonderful. And they weren't monkeys, they were. So Picasso, anyway, in France, decided to go and have a look. And he went into the caves, and there was these wonderful pictures of horses galloping, bisons, all kinds of things. And then, after several hours being there, the people in charge said, okay, it's time to leave, we're closing up. And Picasso was the last to leave. And his friends looked at him, and he was like this. So, are you okay? Pablo, what's the matter? He said, do you know what? He says, we have learned nothing new 35,000 years. Now that was great praise for those lovely pictures done with charcoal up on a wall in the dark in these ancient caves. Extraordinary. And of course, that was the same time that storytelling took place, all these things. So all these things are very precious. And everybody should value the gift of storytelling or drawing or painting. Because when somebody creates something, whatever it may be, we're all enriched by this. So people don't have that lovely vision of things, and somebody else might have. They mightn't have the same nice vision. Instead of us seeing lovely trees planted along somewhere, somebody else says, let's put up barbed wire everywhere. Some crazy stuff like that. Nothing against barbed wire, I know it's necessary at times. Anyway, here's regarding, I'll do a little bit of colouring. Regarding colouring, there's lots of things you can use. I'll just show you. I've got colour pencils, and these are watercolour pencils as well. So they're easy to get. I like to bring this around with me. This is what's called a little watercolour set, and see, well used, but they're very, very handy. So if you are somewhere, take out your pencil, do a quick drawing, quick doodle, and if you're happy, then maybe lay a little bit of watercolour on it. And a few months ago, I was lucky enough to be away in Florence, and honestly, the beauty in the old city, stunning. So everywhere I looked, there was these wonderful shapes, and to think these were the same streets that Leonardo da Vinci walked down, and Michelangelo and Raphael, all these wonderful people. So I'm busy looking for my little small brush, and just put a little bit of red here. Very little small bit. He's actually got a waistcoat. Harry the Hedgehog got a waistcoat. He got a present of a waistcoat. And of course, his other friend, Sammy the squirrel, he got himself a jumper. I was trying to be cool and different, so he's just a little bit there. Now I'll put a little bit of colour over here, like that. And bring it down like that. So I'm doing this very, very quickly. It's just to give you a little flavour of it. You know. So I know the National Gallery is closed at the moment, and that, but you can go on their website and see these lovely pictures and images. So there's all these wonderful things to see. And my three favourite things when I was a child, because I lived in a place called Donnybrook, which was beautiful little village, and it had a lovely park called Herbert Park. And of course I grew up there, and the park was everything to me. Great playground, great place to play football, but also a great place for me to study wildlife and all the different things. And but because it was so near the city centre, Dublin, sometimes I used to walk to the city centre on the quiet. And I'd go into places like the National Gallery or the Natural History Museum, and I'd have my little sketch pad and go in. And I used to absolutely marvel at these paintings. They were like capturing a moment in time. They were absolutely amazing. And of course, some of the attendants got used to me, and they'd say, well, let him off. And it was great. I got to know a lot of the lovely pictures. And of course, I used to go to the Natural History Museum. Sometimes people call it the Dead Museum. But I was there drawing one day, and I said to one of the attendants there, I said, I was only 7 or 8. I said, where do you get all the animals from? And he said to me, they come here to die. At night time, when they want to leave this world, but to just leave their body here, they come into the basement to die. And this is mounted up here. These are all mounts. The eyes are just glass. A bit scary, but at the same time fascinating. Of course, later on I discovered that the Natural History Museum doesn't even have a basement. But there are great characters who used to work there. They still do, I'm sure. There's still amazing characters there telling us all kinds of whoppers as well as important information. But all these things used to trigger my imagination. And then, of course, I was very brave occasionally, and I'd go all the way over to the Phoenix Park, go to Dublin Zoo. I have a lot of friends now over in the zoo. I don't mean the monkeys, I mean zookeepers and even the director of the zoo, great man. So I go there and I do some drawing. So drawing has always been a very important part in my... So listen, I hope you've enjoyed that. It's nearly time for me to pack up, but that's just to give you a little flavour. And I'll put back up the original one I did, just to show it. So remember, if anybody just does not have this lovely book, they can actually go to the Unpust website and download it. So on behalf of Unpust, Children's Books Ireland and myself, thanks for watching, thanks for your company. Until the next time, do take care.